This copy of Banana Mania was provided to me for free by SEGA. Thank you so much, SEGA.
SEGA!
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Sega Girl NB, otherwise known as Corrin here, and the time has finally come. Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania is finally here, and I've gotten a chance to play at least a good few hours of it, thanks to the people at Sega for providing me with a review code. I was a little late on getting mine just because of reasons, obviously, but all I want to say is I don't have enough time to make a full review of the game, so I'm going to be sharing my thoughts and impressions with what it is that I've played so far, and I do have a lot of positive things to say about it. They obviously, Sega didn't pay me to review this game, so all of these opinions are my own, but I just wanted to just get my thoughts out there because, oh my gosh, there is so much that I want to talk about because I'm having an absolute blast with this game so far. There are some caveats, obviously, that I do have with some changes that they made with the game, but for the most part, I think what I really want to talk about and what I do want to say first and foremost is that a lot of this game, it feels very reminiscent of the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy, where any sort of changes that were made to the mechanics of the game as a whole, it's more or less muscle memory, and because it's coming from the perspective of somebody who grew up and loved the GameCube originals. And so if you're going in with that mindset, then you might struggle with some aspects here, but I'll get into that in a little bit. But also, there's just some changes that were made to some of the mini games and things like that that just don't really feel that right. But again, I'm gonna get into all of that first. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is I spent most of my time in the main game, obviously, and the cool thing about some of the changes that they made to this game is that the stages, for the most part, play almost exactly like how I remember them playing, and even some of the exploits that I remember doing in the GameCube version, and I say this because I only played the GameCube version literally just like a few months ago when I made my initial Monkey Ball video. They actually still work in Banana Mania, and I think that's really cool. But story mode was actually where I wanted to spend most of my time because obviously I grew up with Super Monkey Ball 2. And, oh my gosh, the nostalgic callbacks in some of the cutscenes and stuff like that is really, really cool. I actually didn't realize this until, like, a few chapters in, but, when all of the monkeys, like with I and everything, when they do their little dance, the song that plays is actually a remix of the Magical Spell song from Super Monkey Ball 2. So I think that that's a really cool little Easter egg for fans who loved Super Monkey Ball 2 growing up, especially with me. So one of the biggest points of contention I think that a lot of fans are starting to have with the game, especially with the main game specifically, is that physics-wise, it's not quite the same as the GameCube version, and I think that's kind of I think that's to be expected, considering the fact that the original game came out 20 years ago. So trying to replicate something like that, I think, especially like from something over 20 years ago, I think is a little difficult to do. It's not quite one-to-one. And as a result of that, some stages feel way harder than they honestly should. I struggled a lot on seesaw bridges. I mean, I was already kind of garbage at that stage to begin with in the original version, but this one feels so much harder. I spent like almost like a half hour, I think, on just trying to get through seesaw bridges. But on the flip side of that, they nerfed the heck out of Arthropod. Arthropod is way too easy now. I think in the game they actually filled in the gaps in between the rings, so Arthropod is no longer an issue, and that's both like something that I really appreciate, but at the same time something I also kind of don't appreciate. But that's the cool thing too, is that there's a mode that you can unlock with points. And that's the other thing too. I was worried that points were going to be really difficult to come by in order to unlock new characters, to unlock costumes, to unlock like customizable parts and stuff. And the good thing is that you're constantly earning points to spend in the shop, whether it be by completing missions or by collecting bananas. And so I was never... And so I think literally after like an hour of playing, I had gotten up to about like 20,000 or like 30,000 points. And one thing that I think a lot of people were concerned about was the jumping mechanic from Banana Blitz being forced onto players. And I will say this right now, it is not, because what I was under the impression with jumping is that jumping is toggable on and off in the options menu by default, when that's not actually the case. You actually have to purchase the jump feature, and it's the most expensive item in the shop. And so the fact that the jumping mechanic, the option that technically breaks a lot of these stages, is technically almost kind of like a purchasable cheat, I think is actually really good. So the fact is that a lot of people who are going to benefit from playing this game the most are people who grew up with these games. And so I think that that's a really cool feature. I think that was honestly like the smartest way that they could have gone about implementing the jumping mechanic. So it's like making the game more accessible is a reward for people who play the game legitimately. So the fact is that playing the game without a jump, you get rewarded for that by just being able to go back and play these stages and just absolutely break the hell out of them, is such a cool reward. Honestly, it feels really, really cool. And it's just the main game as a whole feels so good and so polished. It's I had the stupidest grin on my face the entire time just playing this game. Being able to try out some of the different characters. I played a little bit as Beat from Jet Set Radio, played a little bit as Tails from Sonic, obviously got to try out some of the classic the character skins, and I think that that's really cool. So in terms of where a lot of my positivity comes from with Banana Mania, it mostly comes from the main game. I think where a lot of the criticisms for this game are coming from currently is with the party games. I'm in the minority in that I believe a lot of the minigames were improved for the better, with the exception of two. Monkey Target is obviously like one of the most beloved minigames in Super Monkey Ball, and unfortunately here, even though the mechanics are the same as Monkey Ball 2, the physics are where it really feels off. It reminds me a lot of Monkey Target from Banana Splits on the Vita, in that you can't time necessarily your jump when you go off of the ramp. The ramp takeoff feels very scripted. And so the biggest issue that I have with it personally is that the mechanics of Target are more so based on how much you actually tilt the joystick to get the monkey to actually fly and to keep your speed up so that way you can actually go landing on the target. And that takes a lot of getting used to. Like when I first started playing Target, I was not scoring any points at all. But then when I finally got the hang of getting the right angle to tilt Ai and his friends in the minigame as a whole, it finally started clicking with me. So then I finally started having fun with it. But the one minigame I think out of all of them, I think that I just does not work in my opinion, is baseball. I have no idea what the hell they did to baseball, but every single time that I played it, I was just not doing anything. Like like hitting the ball feels like way harder than it really needs to, and also it just feels it just doesn't really feel polished in comparison to the rest of the game. So I'm hoping that the guys at RGG Studio and Sega are listening to the feedback that's coming from fans, and I hope that they do kind of make some small little changes to the minigames just to kind of polish them up and make them feel a little bit better. But otherwise, in terms of all the other minigames, I think a lot of them were changed for the better. Boat Race is actually a lot of fun now. I know that some people don't really like Boat Race all that much, but I'm personally like a huge fan of Boat Race now. Like, you can even do this little drifting thing. I noticed that like you can kind of do like a drifting motion, like when you're flipping the bumpers on the controller like back and forth to kind of like row your boat. So I thought that was really cool. Monkey Race, like just standard racing, got the most improvements I think out of any of the minigames so far. Like, it feels way tighter and it feels so much better to actually play. Personally, I think one of the ones I think that actually got like the most, I think actually got the most quality of life improvements was soccer. Personally, I thought soccer was okay in GameCube, but now you actually have an option to toggle between which characters you're controlling on your team. So it makes it much easier to pass the ball between characters, and also scoring goals a lot easier. So I actually had like a fair bit of fun with soccer. Tennis, I really enjoyed in the GameCube game, and here I'm not as ecstatic about it because it fundamentally works, but the problem with tennis is that I don't know if it's just the AI or if it's just the fact that I suck, but I was never able to win a game, and I was never able to score like a few hits or anything like that. So it's a little up in the air in terms of how I feel with tennis. Mini golf feels so much better in this game. Like, golfing, I think just as a whole feels so much better. Being able to switch between your clubs so that way you can putt based on the different how far away your ball is from the actual hole. So I was constantly getting like below par, so I was getting like a few strokes in. So it was fun. I could actually sit down and just play golf and feel good about myself. So that was really neat. Billiards basically feels the same, I think, to me, but I like a lot of the improvements that they made with the camera angles. So being able to see an overhead view of where your ball is going to be, where the cue ball is going to be hitting when you're playing 9-ball, and like the different type of trajectory and your ball speed, your hit speed and stuff like that is really, really nice and really wonderful. And it makes it so much more fun to play. So in terms as a package, with how I feel about all of the minigames as a whole, a lot of them I think were definitely improved. They improved the turning speed on Dogfight, so Dogfight I actually think is a lot more manageable now. They slowed down the cursor speed on Monkey Bowling, so I think Monkey Bowling is a little bit more manageable now. They made like some small, tiny little improvements here and there, but I think the party games, I think as a whole, are a little bit weaker than the main game. The main game is where it feels the most polished as a product, and honestly, that's where it matters the most, because the main game is what a lot of people are coming back here for, and I think they definitely succeeded in making a really polished, really well done remake of Super Monkey Ball 1, 2, and Deluxe. And this is only just from the few hours that I've played. I've played a little bit more even now. And I'm honestly, any sort of caveats that I have with some of the changes and some of the fundamentals and stuff like that, it's nitpicking, honestly. The fact is that since most of the complaints that I have are very minor, tiny little details that they could easily patch and like refine and help make better. The fact that it's not Sonic Colors Ultimate at launch, I think is really saying a lot, because the people at RGG Studio, and they just did a tremendously amazing job on this game. And honestly, I'm having way too much fun to care about any sort of complaints that I have. Like, I'm having just way too much fun with Banana Mania. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. The game officially comes out today for those who got the Digital Deluxe Edition. Standard Edition and physical copies, those are going to be out on October 5th. So, please, 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 do yourself a favor and go buy this game. Like, just straight up. If you get the chance to, absolutely buy this game. I think with the Digital Deluxe Edition, it's like $50. And I think with the amount of content that you're getting, in addition to all of the DLC, including the original soundtrack, you get the option to play as a Dreamcast, a Saturn, and a Game Gear. You get like all of these really, really cool characters that you can unlock in-game without having to purchase anything extra. You get some customization options, stuff like that. This was the version that I got as the code. It's all wonderful, and the game is just such a delight. I'm truly having a lot of fun with it, and honestly, more than likely, by the time that I'm done making this video and I get it uploaded, I'm probably going to go play more Monkey Ball, honestly, because the game is just way too much fun, man. It's way too much fun. So those are my thoughts, honestly. Fantastic job to all the guys at SEGA and RGG Studio for making a wonderful, polished game, and for helping bring a Monkey Ball back to its roots and really just make something that's accessible, that's fun, and something that I think can be enjoyed for years to come, honestly. This is easily one of my favorite games of the year, bar none. I'm not even joking with that. Like, I don't know if I would put it like in my top 10 or my top 5. Okay, no, I probably would put it in my top 5, if I'm being honest. I'm having way too much fun with this game. And I know that that's saying a lot. I'm probably easy to please. I am critical of like some of the changes that they made, but again, it's mostly just nitpicking. But yes, those are my thoughts on Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. It is officially out today. Go and get it. Go play it. Have fun. If you agree or disagree with what it is I say, you can let me know in the comments. Flame me for all I care. I don't really care. I'm gonna go play more Monkey Ball. So thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you guys so much for sticking with me. And I'll see you guys in the next one.